The Water Magician, episode 2. So, in this episode, Rio starts off by wandering around the beach and he finds this person ashore and he takes him in and takes care of him, makes sure he's back and healthy, makes sure he survives. And once this guy wakes up, uh, he realizes, oh, shoot, I did make it, as he does have a flashback that he was getting shipwrecked in the middle of the sea. So he goes in there and you can instantly see how upon first look of Rio, he starts to already kind of gather information. Like he notices all his clothes or his lack of clothes, and also the place he's surrounded by. He notices the how green it is, and notices that he's the only one there. So he starts kind of like wondering what's his deal. So it's one of those things where I do feel like this swordsman known as Abel kind of really wanted to see if Rio was going to be a threat, and started like just keeping kind of close tabs on him, taking mental notes for himself as the episode carries on. So one of the first things that we do notice is that Rio is able to detect people, but when Rio approached him at first, he wasn't able to detect them. So it could be something to do with the way magic works here, or maybe it could be because Rio's not having any like bloodlust or any intent to kill. This guy doesn't pick up on him him being approached by Rio. And we have like Rio and this guy kind of have a meal together, and he kind of takes note that Rio oh doesn't have to do a long incantation to pour water, and he's just kind of like asking a lot of things, and then he's also kind of taking it back, like, oh, he could have taken that the wrong way. So you can notice that this guy doesn't mean harm. He doesn't mean like any sort of malice towards him. He just really speaks forward and doesn't really think about everything he says and how it comes out. So like later on, he just keeps apologizing for all his blunders. And as they go back to the wreckage where Rio found Abel, like he comes to this conclusion that, okay, well, there's this town near here that we can probably head towards, and he wants Rio to come with them. And Rio kind of like thinks to himself for a bit, and it's like, you know what, I could use an adventure. So he does decide to go with Abel, and it's one of those kind of like things where he kind of looks back and it's like, I was really actually prepared to live my whole life here. Now I'm just gonna leave this comfort and head into danger with this guy I hardly know. And it's really nice seeing Rio be open to going out, because in the first episode it was more so like, yeah, I just want to kind of laid back life, and now he's like, because he's had his fill of this laid back life, maybe he decided, okay, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to get out of here and get a new experience, find out more about this world, because I'm sure he got curious as to what else is out there, and talking with Abel kind of intrigued them, because he realized he wasn't the only he there was more than the 20% he initially thought of people that could actually use magic. So maybe he's curious as to what other types of magic there are, what other things are in this world. And as we go on and they head on, first Rio wants to say his goodbyes to the Dullahan that he's been sparring all this time, and on their last spar, the Dullahan gives him his new robe, which now solves the problem that, or like the question that Abel had, if like he had any more clothes. Well, now he does. Abel also noticed that Rio doesn't use a staff when using magic, so this just means that Rio heading into this world of magic users is already way above them, or at least has a step up above them, because he realized that you don't need long incantations to perform magic. It's just a thought, and that you also don't need to focus it purely on a staff. You can, as long as you can think of it, you can conjure it. And not only that, he realized that it can be used to different sizes and scales that probably over there weren't really thought, or not a lot of people know how to properly use or upgrade their skill. And so as they carry on their journey, they encounter lesser folks, and this is when you start to really notice that Abel's keeping kind of close tabs on what Rio can do. And as he noticed that when Rio poured him a glass of water this time, or a cube, he didn't use the same incantation as he did the first time. And so there's questions being asked and more intrigue, because even Rio tried to play it off as like, maybe it's because I'm a water magician that I don't have to do long incantations, when Abel asked him why his incantations are so much shorter. And even then, like, Rio is also note, as he's going with Abel, he's learning things like how most non-magic users have to use skills like combat skills to make up for the lack of magic. And since we know that Rio has been secretly training with the Dullahan at night, he's probably gonna start picking up skills, combat skills, to accommodate him when he doesn't have the use of magic. And as they're carrying on, they meet this wyvern like pack that goes and faces this behemoth, and we have this behemoth that can nullify magic. So it's very interesting. Rio, if he went up against that, he would have been done so. So he was really hoping that Abel would be the one to step up, and Abel's like, yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. And Abel talks about like dungeons and the elves and the dwarves, so we get more insight of the world that we're in, where there's a lot of magical creatures in it, and they each have their specific thing, like dwarves with blacksmithing, elves just kind of live in the forest and protected. Really great stuff. And then we have Rio, who tells Abel like, listen, we're gonna keep running into these wyverns until we get rid of them, so we might as well just put up a fight for it now and save us the trouble of fighting them later. But Abel was kind of taken back, like, we can't do that. They're, even with like like a full squad, there's still like a lot of casualties that happen when facing them. And Henry was just like, well, would it be better if I just like clip their wings, or so you can use your skills on the ground? And he's like, yeah, that would make it a lot easier. So he does just that, and yeah, Abel kind of gets a boost of confidence in that, and it's like, yeah, let's do it. And I just love this whole aspect that Rio and Abel are kind of fitting off of one another. Like, Rio is getting information out of him, and Abel's just becoming more optimistic, becoming more braver, more battle heavy. And it's just exciting seeing these two feed off the energy of one another and actually banter back and forth. Even though they've barely known each other, they just have such a good chemistry to them. And one of the last things that really was, I really wanted to make note of, was the fact that when they met a Griffith, that's when they knew they met their match. Like, they were scared of it, and the one that acted first was Rio. So Rio's the more active one, the one that, because he's already faced a lot of danger, maybe he's more attuned to how to get away from it better. And Abel, who probably hasn't had the same life experiences, or like the same near death experiences, he just kind of froze up, even though he's supposed to be a knight. So luckily Rio is a quick thinker, and I love that they go they're so close to the town that they just look out and it's like, yeah, we made it, you know. But yeah, this anime is so beautifully animated, and I gotta say, I do love how slow paced it is. A lot of isekai, when they get introduced, they just kind of rush through the beginning portions to get to the middle portions. But this one is really taking the sweet time. Like, you can see that there was a lot of love and care put into it, and I'm really enjoying how well the characters are coming out and how much better it really turned out to be than what I initially thought. And yeah, this one I think I will recommend. And this episode, I'm rating it a 8 out of 10. But that's gonna be it for this episode. And if you enjoy what I discussed, what I talked about, and you want to get more more videos notified to you, just hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and comment. And until next time, bye.